ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Verse number 52. Continuing with the Pratibimbavada illustrations and discussion. Eko bhanustathastav pratiphalanavashad. One second, I just have to make something a little bigger. Yeah, 1 second. Eko bhanustathastav pratiphalanavashad अस्त्वनेकोदकान्तः नानात्वं याति उपाधिस्थितिगतिसमतां चापि तद्वत्परात्मा भूतेषु चावचेषु प्रतिफलित इवाभाति तावत् स्वभाव अवच्छिन्नो यः परं तु स्फुटमनुपहतो भाति तावत् स्वभावैः. It is almost as though he is channeling the Manisha Panchakam, and since we do not know the chronology of which came first, we can assume that either Manisha Panchakam has borrowed from this or this has borrowed from the Manisha Panchakam. Thankfully, since we are not Vedanta researchers, this really doesn't matter to us at all. We are here to study this, to understand how it is transformed for us in our own lives. That is why we study this, not to get a lot of, have some briefcase and Vedanta information briefcase with the combination lock, because nobody should steal this because you have collected it. This is some kind of a intellectual copyright. We don't have proprietary ways of being with the knowledge we don't have. It is freely available, and that is why it is we cannot charge for that which is Swatas Siddha. It is already shining as yourself, and so therefore it is freely available, pun intended. And so here the verse has a lot of resonance with Manisha Panchakam. In fact, the first verse of the Manisha Panchakam, which sometimes is not even included in some of the texts, because it is seen as some kind of a preliminary banter. Now, what is this Manisha Panchakam? It is that famous conversation between Adi Shankara and or some of his devout Shishyas who became the nimitta, the cause for this conversation. So the story goes, and we don't know how true it is and what it is, but that this is how the story is, that Adi Shankara emerged after taking a dip in the Ganga during one of his travels to the holy city of Varanasi. Then as he emerged, and there was one funeral groundskeeper, who deals with the dead bodies, etc., like a, what is that called, mortician, the current day mortician, who deals with all unhygienic stuff. And so therefore this person, and that such a person is called Chandala, came in front of him. And then in the society in which Adi Shankara lived and taught, it was a very hierarchical, patriarchal and a graded society, full of all kinds of gradation based on occupation and position in life, etc. And the Chandala, dealing with unhygienic things, was supposed to not even appear before the sannyasi, who is seen as the embodiment of auspiciousness. And then what happens? He appears anyway, he's just a few feet in front of him. He's like, okay, as soon as you and your, troop of followers vacate this, what is it called? Ghat. Ghat means a bathing, a kind of a inlet that is made into the river with usually rocks and these days concrete. So you walk into the, or you walk on that little inlet and then you can go into the river. So it's like, okay, after you vacate, so he was standing there. He was respectfully standing there waiting for the party of Adi Shankara to vacate, and so that he could go and take his bath. And I can't imagine, from whatever we know about Adi Shankara, that he would have said to the Chandala, "Gacha, gacha, go, 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 who are you? Why are you blocking my path?" He wouldn't have said that. I think we can sincerely attribute it to the overzealous Shishyas who, out of their Shraddha and their Bhakti to their Guru, they wanted to clear the path, and they were not yet at the level where Adi Shankara was, of non-duality, of seeing everything as an extension of oneself. So they must have said, "Gacha, gacha, gacha. Go, 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 off with you, off with your unsightly presence. In fact, you have come from the funeral grounds, and here our Guru has emerged, who is already pure, free of raga dvesha, has emerged from the purifying Ganga water." And then, a very interesting thing happens. This Chandala was a big surprise. Why? Because he was a Vedantin in the disguise, supposedly, not disguise, in the guise of a Chandala. He was a well-read, well-studied Vedantin. So he doesn't, shrivel up or go away on the side apologetically, nothing. He just stands his ground, literally, and then he says, "Duri kartum vanchasi kim." What are you trying to, between two things you are trying to create a distance. What are those things? Annamayad Annamayam. So your body is just, what? A modification of the food you eat. And what sad food, some roots and fruits you are living on. That's why you look like this. And my body is the modification, is the culmination of some of the four-legged, flying, winged, all the creatures that I ingest. But still, it is a modification of the five elements and the food that we eat. Your body is also the same. So, Annamayat Annamayam. So, your body is Annamaya. It's just the modification of food. Food converted into nutrition. And then my body is also the food I eat converted into nutrition, and with the help of all the five elements, etc., etc. So you are trying to distance one set of five elements, the what is born of five elements, from another set of functions, etc., known as the human body, which is also born of the five elements. Are you trying to distance physically, or chaitanyat chaitanyam duri kartum vanchasi kim? Or are you desirous of distancing distancing consciousness from consciousness? How many consciousnesses are there? The last time we checked, one and non-dual, singly one, non-dually one. So how are you going to say, do this? And then he breaks into verse. And then he says, he says exactly what is here in verse 52. He says there. And then what does he say? He says, look, King Gangambuni Tire. So you say, look at this situation, look at yourself. You say you are so well read, and you say you are a jnani, and everybody says you are a jnani and an expert on non-duality, and you have conducted so many vadas. Vadas means intellectual conversations, debates. You have entered into so many debates. And then, if supposing I had come to you and asked for a debate, you would not have taken me seriously. But look, here we are. The circumstances have brought us together. And please listen to what I have to say. So he says, Gangambuni, the Ganga water in the river. What is the difference between the Ganga water in the river and then the Ganga water in a rivulet that is going by the houses of myself and other chandalas? We live in a ghetto. Why? Because you don't want us to live with you. You have put us to one side of on the outskirts of the township, village, wherever. You don't want us to be with you. And so we are there. And then the Ganga, makes its way. And then it has made its way to a little ditch water, kind of a rivulet, can't even call it a rivulet, some kind of a stream, filled with all the effluents, your own dirt, your own clothes that you wash, all that is then flowing downstream to us. And then in front of our houses, we have this smelly water. Of course, we also wash in it and our dishes and clothes and everything. And so, what is the difference between that Ganga water and this Ganga water? If you say there is a difference, there is something wrong with you. There is something wrong with you, because chemically, if you analyze, it is still water. It is water plus affluents plus soap or whatever cleansing agent they used at the time, plus all kinds of other pollutants that it may have picked up, but it is still water. Muddy water, yes, but it is still water. Muddy water because there is no exit from our place, so it stagnates there, and then it just mixes with all the topsoil and everything, and so it is muddy Ganga. And whereas if you go to bathe to the river bank, where we are not even allowed to go, if we go to bathe in the river bank, there you have a clear Ganga. And if you think that Ganga has changed, then what should I say? You are crazy. Ganga has not changed. And then not only does he say that, then he says Ambara Manihi, the sun. So you look at the sun reflected in the Ganga water by the river bank, and you look at the same sun reflected in the muddy water in our place of habitation, near our residence. What is the difference? Oh, the sun is dirty. If this is your conclusion, you are madder than I thought. Can the sun become dirty? Of course, the answer is no. And so, what is supposedly dirty is the quote unquote medium of reflection. So, the sun stands for this consciousness in association with a upadhi, a medium, and based on the clarity or otherwise of the medium of reflection, the sun appears to be dull, dirty, small, big, clear, etc. The sun doesn't change. You look down at the dirty sun, and then you look up, the sun is not dirty. So it shows that the attribute is belonging to the medium of reflection and is not affecting how the sun shines. This is a very classic and a very beautiful way of expressing the Pratibimbavada. So the medium of reflection here is the body mind sense complex of what is constituted as the Chandala in the eyes of the society, the Chandala, and then and that is what the quote unquote medium of reflection here stands for. And therefore certain people, I mean, and even though this is an example from ancient time, even now, the certain people are seen to be inherently polluting, dirty, especially in the time of pandemic. Now we don't even look for social status or something. Anybody coming without a mask, one jumps to the side because one is afraid, oh, I'll catch corona or something like that. And so there is some kind of a fear. And then of course, even before the pandemic, we were not, if somebody said, especially in America, if somebody said, I think I'm coming down with the flu, the people would jump, 4 or 5 feet away. I never understood that because in India we don't do that at all. The idea of social distancing is so new. It is ever new. Even now people have to, when I walk, I see near the shops, everybody crowds. Even though there are squares and circles that are painted, I think for the birds or the dogs, because the people are not occupying those squares which are 6 feet away and waiting their turn. All these things are not there. The concept itself is not there. So everybody is just a crowd. And then this cop comes on a bicycle, and gives this ear piercing whistle, and and then you just have to go like this because you are just a bystander. You are minding your own business. You are taking a morning walk, and then you hear this shrieking whistle, this piercing shriek, and then they all know what it is about. So guiltily they just separate a little bit. But then as soon as this policeman cycles away, again everything comes back to normal. So, but that's not how it is in the West. You don't tell anybody, even if you're dying, you don't tell people I'm about to die. Because the reaction from the other people is it catching? So once I remember, so somebody asked me, how are you? And I said, oh, I'm all right. I'm having some thyroid problems. And the person didn't know that what thyroid problem is. And so immediately they just jumped, why 6 feet, 10 feet away? Is it catching? And I assured them it was not. And so like this, even now we have certain gradations. We don't want to mingle with certain people. Think about it. I mean, we have our prejudices. Somebody is looking unkempt. Obviously, he doesn't have a home, or is mentally little off. Perhaps so many things. Has mental health issues, has physical issues, and if they come close to you, naturally you will feel like going further away. This is some kind of this is an inherent prejudice. And this is an age-old prejudice, as we see from this anecdote. But a prejudice, even if Adi Shankara had a little piece of it, it was righted completely, because after the diatribe, a very erudite diatribe of the Chandala, what happened? Adi Shankara turns and says, anybody who knows this without a shadow of doubt is my teacher, is non-separate from my own guru. And Esha matihi mama chandalostu dvijostu saha guruhu iti esha matihi mama. And he does complete floor, what should I say, namaskar, sashtanga namaskar to the Chandala. That is how the story goes. And so here, the in verse 52, these kinds of differences are highlighted as arising from Atma Ajnanam, the self ignorance, and not being comfortable enough in the home, in our home, which is Vedanta Shastra. The vision of Vedanta is our home. We have to make our home there. You have to move your computer there, and then you have to move your coffee cup there, into the vision of the Shastra, into the home that is Mahavakya. You have to bring your bed sheet and your security blankie, everything there, and that is where you live. But usually most people are in the space of looking at the house that is symbolized by the vision of Vedanta and saying, is this really my home? Could this be my dream home? Will it have enough space for my loved ones? Will it have enough space for all my mad ideas and everything in my head? This is what. Or it looks like a nice home. Can I have a tour? And the Guru says, yes, walk in. There is no lock, nothing. Walk in. Make yourself at home. How many people are living here? Will I have my private bedroom? In fact, you are the only one. That is the thing. Oh, then will I be too lonely? Such a big house. But it's full of beautiful things. And the Mahavakyas are, the rooms are each and every room is decorated according to a Mahavakya to reflect the spirit of it. So then one flits in and out. I think I'll come tomorrow. Why? Because I didn't bring the down payment. Oh, it costs money. What is the down payment? Your own raga dveshas. That is, you put them down. That is why it is called down payment, to enter it. And then every monthly installment you give some more raga dveshas. A set amount you give up. Oh, I didn't think I brought enough down payment. I'll come back tomorrow. Next day you go and say, oh, what a nice house. So much shanti, so much peace. Nice bhajans coming inside, from inside. The fragrance of the Vedanta flower blossoming. Like there is one flower called Brahma Kamalam in Anekatti, where Pujya Swamiji's residence, outside of it used to bloom. Once a year it blooms, sometimes once in 2 years. Oh, but such a heady fragrance, and what a lovely flower. What a lovely flower. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. Janani, if you have that, share it here. People can see it. And so, this is, this Vedanta is like that. And one has to make oneself at home in it. But there is that hesitancy. And the study of Manisha Panchakam, study of Manisha Panchakam, study of things like, what is that other one? Study of texts such as what are we studying now? Satasloki, etc. makes one have finally be comfortable enough to enter the home called the vision of Vedanta. And then live there. That is the idea. To enter the home and to live there. That is the whole idea. Very, very beautiful. And so with this introduction, let us enter into this verse. Ekaha bhanuhu. One sun. Tatasthaha. Tatasthaha means unchanging here. It is what kind of a sun is it? It is a sun that is staying put. One sun that is staying put, meaning independent of other objects. It is self-revealing I, self-revealing Atma, symbolizing the self-revealing Atma. Because like the sun, the Atma is by itself. It does not look for, just like the sun does not look for another source of light to shine, the Atma is self-evident. It does not look for another source of self-evident I. It is already by itself self-evident. Very nice. So, Eko Bhanuhu Tatasthaha. And then what? Pratiphalana Vashat means by virtue of its reflection. By virtue of its reflection. Pratiphalana Vashat. Astu Aneka Udakantaha. So, Pratiphalana Vashat means because of its reflection, what does it do? It reflects variously in Udakantaha, in various Aneka Udakantaha, in various bodies of water. You see why I thought of the Manisha Panchakam? It's very clear here. So it is reflecting in a ditch water. You see there, you see a muddy sun, and you make a transference of the reflecting medium onto that which is being reflected. Muddy sun, unclear sun. And then in another body of water, let us say the sun, there is a lot of wind and it is disturbed by ripples. So you see a moving sun, an unclear sun, a hazy sun, a moving sun, a restless sun. And all this is possible. A dirty sun, a clean sun, clear sun. All this is because aneka pratiphalana vashat astu aneka udakantaha. So two things happen to the sun. First, it becomes dirty, clear, etc. according to the various upadhis or the mediums of reflection. Number one. Number two, it looks to be many. How many suns are there? One. One clear sun looks to be many kinds of sun. So many suns, so little time. This is what the thing is. Then what happens? Nanatvam yati. Nanatvam. Nana means grandfather. No, not here. Okay. Nana here means many. Many. Nanatvam, manifoldness, manyness. Yati, it attains. What attains? The sun, of course. And of course, after attains, we have to add our wonderful phrase. What is our wonderful phrase? As though. It as though attains manyness. As though attains this manyness without really becoming many. And then what? Upadhi. Because of the upadhi. Yati, upadhi. Sthiti. Sthiti means a stationary upadhi, like a placid lake. Then you see an undisturbed sun. Gati, a rippled lake, a rippled pond, a pond full of ripples. Let's say there are some children playing around the pond, and then they are throwing some pebbles into the water to see how far it will go, and each one is keeping on throwing the pebbles one after the other, and in that, if you look at the reflection of the sun, you will see gati, not sthiti. Sthiti, stationary. Gati, disturbed. A disturbed sun. A quiet sun. A placid shanta sun. Dirty sun. Clear sun. Samatam cha api. Samatam means it attains a oneness. Samata, a oneness along with the medium of reflection. The sun seems to fuse with the medium of reflection and reflect certain things at certain times, all depending on the upadhi, the medium of reflection. If the medium of reflection is clear, dirty, moving, stationary, immediately the sun takes on those dharmas, those attributes, and then reflects that accordingly, leading us to make the error that the sun is clear, the sun is dirty, the sun is upset, the sun is disturbed, etc. And so this is a mistake. This mistake is what is being pointed out. And tadvat para atma, same thing we do with the para atma, which is none other than Bhagavan, Paramatma. Same thing we do. And then what do we do here? Then bhuteshu, para atma bhuteshu tadvat. Para atma is this atma which is one and only, non-dually one, bhuteshu, in all beings, is shines. And depending upon the reflecting medium, what is the reflecting medium here? Usually the buddhi, the mind. So if one is agitated, an agitated mind, and because one is agitated and because of Atma Ajnanam, one doesn't say my mind is agitated, one says I am agitated. So in an agitated mind, then you see an agitated Atma. Atma, of course, is free of all agitations. Then what happens? In a mind that has just got up after doing meditation, in a body-mind complex that has just finished a meditation session and has come out, how nice. Then you see the Atma, quiet, glorious, and reflecting Bhagavan in a very uninhibited way. Similarly, in the mind of a jnani, the Atma likewise shines without any inhibitions, because the inhibitions in the form of strong prejudices, preferences, raga, dvesha, etc., they are not there. And since they are not there, there is more the presence of Atma, less the presence of the personality. More person, less personality. That is what one is striving for. Personality means the angular, hard and edges, sharp edges made of, crafted from raga and dvesha. Person means Purusha, Sarvan Purayatiti. And so the same word Purusha has two derivations. One is Purusha, Sahasrashirsha Purusha, Sahasrakshas, Sahasrapat. It refers to Bhagavan, who all eyes are his eyes, all hands are his hands, and he is transcending everything, and and is the sole cause of the entire universe. And even that causality is imbued onto this Purusha. This is Bhagavan. And the other Purusha is what? Yours truly. Crying, weeping, complaining. And what is the problem with this Purusha? This Purusha, Puri Shete, sleeps the sleep of ignorance in the citadel called the body-mind sense complex. No compassion, no accommodation, nothing. This is the second Purusha. So really speaking, how many Purushas? Only one Purusha. Because of Ajnanam, the second Purusha is as though born, like even the second bird on the tree in the Mundakopanishad. The one that is alienated, because the one that has mistaken the medium of reflection for itself. As the self, it has taken on the dharma, the attributes of the medium of reflection, and suffers, thinking I am restless, I hate myself, I am no good, I don't like you. I like myself. That is some people's problem. You are the problem. I'm not very fond of you. Gaccha gaccha. This is the thing. And so therefore this is where the samsara is. Samsara is in not understanding that the various so-called buddhis, the so-called the body, mind, sense complexes reflect, so to speak, that same Atma according to their own finitude and limitations. So the para Atma is the same in the sun or the globum. Khadyota, globum. Bhanu, sun. This is an example from the Viveka Chudamani. So in the Khadyota, the same Atma is there, even though it has a small little glow. In the sun also, the same Atma is there, but this is not recognized. So third line, Bhuteshu Tadvat Para Atma Bhasate, we have to say, and then Bhasate, and then Para Atma Bhasate. And what kind of Bhuteshu? Uccha Avacheshu. Uccha means high, like Adi Shankara. This is why I thought of that Manisha Panchakam. Uccha means in high, in everything that we consider high, like the body, mind, sense complex of a holy person, a saint. That is high. What is low? The low is, of course, some person who is impaired, sick person, who is looking to be homeless. Our own prejudices towards that upadhi, whereas this upadhi, oh high. And people have, different things that they worship. They become objects of worship. Not just sadhus and saints. I wish that was the case, but that is not the case. Usually one worships people with money, lots of money. They get all the respect. They get all the accolades. And even if they get into some kind of a skirmish with the law also tends to be a little more lenient sometimes, not always, sometimes. And then so this is, they are able to, with their clout, avoid the fate of many people who don't share their uchatvam, don't share their wealth or their position in society. Then avacha means lowly. Lowly, economically lowly. Lowly according to certain established and not even established, I should say entrenched, unfortunately well entrenched social hierarchies. Lowly. And then, so, uchcheshu avacheshu cha pratiphalita iva bhati. And then tavat means at any given time. The word tavat doesn't really has many meanings. So here it is, at any given time, it seems to be reflecting, the eye reflects, so to speak, in all these upadhis according to social hierarchies, religious hierarchies, gender hierarchies, body of man, body of woman, etc. And then whatever is considered lowly, like people are not very fond of pigs. They are considered to be unhygienic. So if a pig came, if a cute puppy crossed your path, you would be very, very, oh, how sweet. A cute kitten, puppy, you will be very indulgent. If it rubs against you, you'll say, oh, how sweet. But then a pig comes, and then, that's a cultivated taste, because, some people do keep some, some pot belly pig or something like that. They're supposed to be very intelligent, and they supposedly make very excellent pets. But then if you suddenly encounter a pig, especially after having grown up in India, you just want to put a distance between yourself and the pig naturally. And so this is because they are seen as unhygienic. So like this is where one is not able to transcend the upadhi and look and understand that everything is atma alone. And so pratiphalita iva as though conditioned by the attributes, by the swabhava, the attributes of the medium of reflection, the Paraatma shines. There is no problem with the Paraatma, there is no problem with its shine, but the shine is as though conditioned by the various upadhis. You see, what is interesting about this reflected consciousness theory, which we are studying here through all these examples, is that even they are constrained to accept upadhi. They also talk about upadhi. They have to bring in upadhi because they can't just sort of keep talking about the medium of reflection. What is this medium of reflection? What is its reality? They have to resort to the concept of upadhi, which is the mainstay of the avachedavada. So here he uses this tat swabhava avachinnaha. So all the Para-Atma appears to take on the roles and the limitations of the various upadhis, etc., and then the various mediums of reflection. But then Parantu, however, Sputam Anupahataha means unaffected, unimpaired. Unimpaired by what? By the very same problems of the upadhis: small, big, restless, still, etc., high, low, all these things. So the limitations of the upadhis do not touch the Para-Atma, like even a tattered cloth. If you put behind the crystal, and then the crystal looks to be all cut up and tattered, but really when you remove that cloth with a lot of frayed cloth, when you remove it, then the crystal appears to be whole again. It's just an apparent reality, it is not ultimate, because this upadhistha atma, the atma, as though obtaining in a particular upadhi, seems to take on the conditions and the limitations of that upadhi, high, low, small, big, restless, still, etc., without really being impaired in any way. Sputam anupahata bhati tavat swabhavaihi. Tavat swabhavaihi means from those swabhavas, from those properties, it is anupahataha. It shines unimpaired. Shines unimpaired. So one Atma in so many bodies, in so many minds. And that one Atma, accommodates, as it were, all the social hierarchies among the animals. Certain animals cute, and then snake, eek, not cute. And some people keep as pets, but generally people don't keep such things as pets. And so certain things are very endearing, not just to you but for just everybody, generally speaking. And certain upadhis like tarantula and big reptiles, alligators, etc., swasthane vishishyante, they are good in their own places. You can watch a wildlife show, alligator hunters or something like that. I don't know why people should hunt, but anyhow, let them hunt if that is what they want to do. What can we do? So then you can enjoy the National Geographic shows of all these people who photograph these animals in the wild and enjoy them sitting in a nice cozy comfort of your own couch. You have screen on the windows and you don't live in a swamp, and so the aforementioned alligator is happily just being broadcast on the screen and you can enjoy it and learn about it all you want. Same thing with big cats, etc. But then it is in a way good, all these National Geographic shows, because what does it do? It helps to appreciate Ishvara from a safe distance, and you can see, oh, how nice, how nice. Look at it. Oh, this is how they make their homes. This is what they have for dinner. Glad it is not me. You can just sort of look at certain aspects or certain manifestations of Ishvara can be happily appreciated from a distance, which is what this verse is trying to say. This concludes verse 52. 53. यद्वत्पीयूषरश्मौ दिनकरकिरणैर्बिम्बितैरेति सान्द्रं नाशं नैशं तमिस्रं गृहगतम अथवा मूर्छितैः कांस्यपात्रे तद्वद्बुद्धौ परात्मद्युतिभिः अनुपदं बिम्बिताभिः समन्तात् भासन्ते हीन्द्रियास्य प्रसृतिभिः अनिशं रूपमुख्याः पदार्थाः. Again, it's a mouthful. And one more example of the same thing that we are discussing. And here, the theory of reflected consciousness is actually talking about the various forms of reflection, etc. Same thing. And it is talking about it more intimately in this verse. How does this Atma, quote unquote, reflect in my own body mind sense complex? That is what this verse is addressing. This is how it is different from the previous verse, which was discussing how in general this upadhis are reflecting the para atma. Here it is with regard to one's own upadhi. Let us study this. Let us see. Yadvat, in which manner, piyusha, piyusha rashmau, the piyusha moon, rashmau, in the rays of what? Dinakara kiranaihi. The rays of the moon are actually reflected by the sun, are actually a reflection of the sun. So, piyusha rashmau, in the Rashmau, seventh case, Piyusha Rashmau, in the rays of the moon. What do you see in the rays of the moon? Dinakara kiranaihi bimbitaihi. So you see actually the rays of the sun reflected. In the moon, in the rays of the moon, you can't take the... Here also a mistake is made. You say, oh, the moon is shining so brightly. We do our own subjective projection, adhyasa. The moon is shining so brightly. The moon is not shining brightly at all. What is happening? The moon is not shining brightly. What is happening here? The sun rays. The moon is borrowing the rays of the sun and reflecting them brightly. Here again we have a transference. We say the moon is shining brightly. So the moon gets the upadhi, the power. The moon gets becomes a powerful medium. And what is that powerful medium? For what? Sandram nasham naisham tamisram. That again is a mouthful. Sandram, dense. Nasham, the destruction of the dense. What? Naisham, darkness of the night. Naisham means pertaining to Nisha, night. Tamisram, darkness. So borrowing from the rays of the sun, the moon gets the power to dispel the dense darkness of the night. Just as. So that is the first line and half of the second line. So this is how Sanskrit is, it just flows, especially in verse. So yadvat piyusha rashmau, just as in the rays of the sun, we see the in the rays of the moon, we see the reflected rays of the sun, because of which eti, the moon, eti means gains, sandram nahasham naisham tamisram, gains the ability to destroy, nasham, gains the ability to destroy what? Tamisram naisham, naisham tamisram, sandram naisham tamisram nasham yati. So in the rays of the moon, the darkness of the dense darkness of the night gets destroyed. This is outside, okay? That's what happens when the moon, one is groping around because the moon is behind the clouds, and the night looks pitch dark, and then suddenly the clouds part and the moon peeps out, and then immediately one is able to say, I have found my footing, I can walk now. And so like that, the dense darkness of the night is destroyed. This is outside. In the house, they had a mechanism before tube lights and before halogen lamps and before electricity. They had a mechanism. And what would they do? This is during the day or even during the night. They would shine up a copper plate and fix it in such a way, like facing the entrance but partially also facing within, so that the light of the sun or the moon would hit that very nicely shined copper plate and then reflect that light in the house. So athava, where is athava? There is no athava in the second line. Yes, there is, it is hidden. Grihagatam athava. Athava, so the athava is the conjunction that is separating these two clauses. So the first one we saw, just as in the light of the moon we see the reflected rays of the sun, because of which it gains the ability to dispel the darkness of the night, the dense darkness of the night, or athava grihagatam murchitaihi kamsya patre. Kamsya patre means in the copper plate. Patra, vessel, but here it's not a vessel, it's a plate, dish, like a plate. So, or in the copper plate. What kind? Grihagatam, situated inside the house. Gatam means gone. Griha gatam, gone in the house. Oh, when did it walk into the house? You shouldn't take it literally. Here it means fixed inside the house. What kind of a copper plate? Murchitaihi. Murchita means what? Fainted. Murcha means fainting. So, how can the copper plate faint? I thought only human beings faint. Here the copper plate is fainted. Well, thankfully for us, Sanskrit has many meanings. And so this is, the fainting is the primary meaning, all right. But fainting, this murchita also means other things, such as what? Augmented, enhanced, reflected, all those meanings are also there. So murchitaihi kamsya patre. So in the dish, in the copper plate, which is well polished, in a well polished copper plate, what do you see? The same thing we have to bring it down. Anuvritti we have to do. Dinakara kiranair bimbitaihi eti. Sandram nasham naisham tamisram. Everything we have to bring in. So the sunlight, the rays of the sun was first in the first example blessing the moon in order to give it the capacity of dispelling the dense darkness of the night, or within the house the rays of the sun are blessing the shining copper plate, in which it is reflected, murchitaihi, and then what? Giving it the ability to dispel the darkness within. Okay, so this much is understood, then we can proceed. Tadvat buddhau, in the same manner within the buddhi. within the intellect, within the mind, etc. Paramatma Dyutibhihi Anupadam. So, Paramatma Dyutibhihi, Paratma Dyutibhihi. So, in the mind, due to the shining of the light of Para-Atma, that Atma which is the truth of everything, the source of I. So, Para-Atma Dyutibhihi Anupadam Bimbita-bhihi Samantat. So, in the same manner, Tadvat Buddhau, in the Buddhi what happens? Paratma Dyutibhihi Anupadam Bimbita-bhis Samantat. So, in the Buddhi, everything shines, and whatever shines in the Buddhi as I know, I recognize, I cognize, that is the shine. Don't look for some kind of a radioactive isotope in the intellect, self shining. That is not the idea. When you say I am, that is the shine of Para-Atma. I know I am, Para-Atma shining in the tiny Buddhi which was just now sleeping. It woke up. Oh, I am awake. That is the shine of the Atma. Oh, it is Tuesday. What do I have to do? Shine of the Atma. I think I'll sleep in. Shine of the Atma. Shine, 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 shine of the Atma. And then, so all this is the way in which whatever is recognized in the Buddhi is due to the shine of the Atma. So, Bimbita-bhihi, the reflected shine of the Atma, Samantat means fully shining. Then, in that Buddhi, in that reflection, shines something else. What is something else? We'll see that in the last line. Bhasante, they shine. Now we are going from singular to plural. Hi indriya asya prasriti bhihi anisham rupamukhyaha padarthaha. So bhasante shines. What is the object of shines? Mukhyaha padarthaha bhasante. All the objects of cognition, padarthaha. See, the word padartha is very nice because it means, pada means word, artha means meaning. So, padartha also in vernacular languages in India means things. So, really the Sanskrit definition of things is that which is a word that has a meaning. Beautiful. It's a total Vedantic definition. Very, very wonderful. Absolutely very, very nice. And so, therefore, so padarthaha bhasante. The various things shine. The words shine. And along with the words, the meanings that cannot be separated from the words. In fact, Kalidasa's famous verse says this. Vagarthaviva sampriktau vagartha pratipattaye. Jagatah pitarau vande Parvati Parameshwarau. The parents of the world I salute as Parvati and Parameshwara. Who are these parents? Who are these people? This mother and father who cannot be separated like even a word and its meaning. Just like you cannot separate a word from its meaning, similarly, Bhagavan and Bhagavati cannot be separated, they are one. And I pray to them and invoke them so that the meaning of the words that I am about to be putting down on paper, on manuscript, on palm leaf manuscript, are understood. By whose grace these words are understood, who themselves are like words and their meanings inseparable. Words means knowledge. And the words means, Nama Rupa. Meaning means the knowledge behind it. One is Shiva, one is Parvati, Shakti. Beautiful. Shakti is Nama Rupa. And the intelligence behind that Shakti, the meaning of that Nama Rupa is the Lord. And so they are inseparable. So here too, this padarthaha, rupa mukhyaha padarthaha, all the meanings of the words in the world shine because they have forms. All the forms shine the meanings shine. How do they shine? Where, and why do they shine? Because indriya asya prasriti bhihi, because of the face, asya, face, of all the indriyas, because of the prasriti is a spread of the various faces of the sense organs. Because of the various sense organs, this light of consciousness walks in through the sense organs and lights up the sense organs and gives them the ability to in turn light up the objects, and then that is how the things are brought to light. Very beautiful, very, very nice. More we will see. We'll continue with this verse next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.